In this video, I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons why you should still buy the mostly new MacBook Pro 14. Getting right into it today, the very first reason to continue buying this wonderful machine is don't actually buy it. Wait, is that what it says in the script? That's just my way of getting to a couple of quick notes before we expound on all of these reasons. Number 1, nobody is sponsoring today's video. Nobody provided me this laptop, and nobody sent me a very detailed letter comprised of magazine letter cutouts with exactly what to say in this video. Number 2, you don't have to buy everything in the You Should Buy series. This series just exists to share my excitement about all of this new exciting technology and to talk about the positives because there is an awful lot of negativity out there. So these would more aptly be named the reasons you should buy the MacBook, but you know, YouTube titles. Okay, the first real reason to continue buying the MacBook Pro 14 is it's essentially a perfect laptop. We saw in my 3-month later video that there is practically no other laptop of this size, weight, or even price range that can fit this much power and value inside of it. Yes, we'll break down individual sections here in a little bit, but team, I gotta tell you, from a holistic standpoint, you are not gonna find another Ultrabook that can stand toe-to-toe with this from a value perspective. You go ahead and in the comments, let me know another laptop that can have a full-on desktop level processor, has over 10 hours of battery life with said processor, doesn't have thermal problems unless at the absolute pinnacle of tough workflows or you're just benchmarking said machine to the point of failure, has all of the ports that somebody could reasonably expect be built into it, has a 120Hz super high contrast panel, and can still fit in a small backpack. I'm out of breath from just saying that all in one go. And yes, it was all in one go. I didn't have to, do any video magic to get all that together. That's the fabrication. Seriously though, I want to hear what else that can do all of that, because if there is, I will probably go out and buy one to make comparison videos with. I'm not a pain in the butt by trade or all that stubborn. For some reason, I couldn't get my wife to provide verification of that. I'm dead serious though. If you know a computer that can match this, let me know and I will do my best to get it in here. The second reason to continue buying the MacBook Pro 14 is where we're gonna start breaking down each of those elements, and we're gonna start off first with price. Let's put all my cards on the table. No, I don't think this is a cheap laptop. $2,000 at the bare minimum for the lowest end base model is about as far away from cheap as you can get. I think my first car cost me around $2,000. That's more than my mortgage payment amount of money. But in the world of tech, you do have to pay for certain features. And when we start talking about the combination of those features from earlier, $2,000 is what I would consider a reasonable amount of money. A key distinction to make here is if you don't need all that combination of features, there are better priced options out there, like the M1 MacBook Air. If you don't know anything about me, I'm kind of in love with that MacBook Air. But let's take that price and let's look out into the world of business laptops or productivity laptops. So if we were looking to get an 8-core processored laptop with a powerful graphics system and an awesome monitor, we could get the Dell Xps 15 with an NVIDIA RTX 3050 Ti, 16 gigabytes of memory, an 8-core Intel i7 11th gen processor, and a 3.5K OLED Infinity Edge display. That whole setup will cost us $1899. You might have noticed that you aren't getting a fast refresh rate or even 4K on that comparable laptop, but that's roughly what we're looking at. So basically the same cost, but missing a few key features, and let's not forget, and a reason we will expound upon later, that's a Windows laptop, and you will lose things if it's not going to be plugged into the wall. As a strictly financial product, the MacBook Pro 14 is very competitively priced compared to what else is on the market. But I don't think money alone tells the story, getting us into the second reason to continue buying this. This is about the most customizable laptop I think I've ever come across. I think I've said this in every single video so far, but it keeps shocking me. You get a ton of different options, allowing you to go from something like the base model running at $1999, and for that money, you'll get the 8-core M1 Pro processor, 14-core GPU, 16 gigabytes of unified memory, or what Apple calls RAM, and a 512 gigabyte solid-state drive. That's a pretty respectable professional work laptop. But let's say you need more power and you don't want to carry around something gigantic like the 16-inch MacBook Pro. You could get the top-of-the-line 10-core M1 Max processor, 32-core GPU, 64 gigabytes of unified memory, and a staggering 8 terabyte solid-state drive. You can get all of that insane power inside of a 14-inch laptop. I love that. Obviously I love it because I say it so often. This is essentially the Swiss Army knife of laptops. Yes, Other laptops have customization options, maybe even more options. Look at that Dell XPS 15 again. You can have the option of both that i7 processor or even an 8-core i9 processor. You get 2 separate GPU options, different colors, 64 gigabytes of memory, and an 8 terabyte solid-state drive as well. Look, I don't want to take anything away from Dell. That's pretty impressive, and I do like the XPS laptops. But you don't get a lot of usable power out of the XPS 15. As we saw on my video here, even my moderately powered i7 option will have thermal issues when running even slightly demanding loads. The MacBook Pro 14, at least my base model, does not run into these issues, and because of that, I will continue to call this the most versatile laptop. And the third reason to continue buying the MacBook Pro 14, all of these ports. Team, I gotta tell you, the thing that I like most about the MacBook Pro 14 is all of these ports. Nothing is as practically useful as everything built into the body of this. Don't worry, we're gonna beat up on the XPS 15 a little more here in a second, but the ports on this MacBook are perfect. In my day job, I'm an office worker. Part of being an office worker, at least when we're in situations where we actually go into the office, is giving presentations. And while Thunderbolt is awesome and can send out an image to an external display, not very many companies that I know have a bunch of Thunderbolt monitors just laying around. That stuff is cool for your home computer setup, or I guess if you're some big tech company. But in the real world I've existed in, HDMI is pretty much the go-to connection, and I absolutely hate needing a dongle to connect to that. Because we've got it built right in, all I need to do is set my laptop down and plug it in. No more do I need to ask everybody to huddle around my machine because I forgot my dongle. Ask me how I know about that. Those embarrassing days will hopefully now be behind me. But that's not to say anything bad about Thunderbolt. I do think Thunderbolt 4 connections are worth buying over here too. That's another awesome part about the laptop. You don't have to pick between useful and future-proof ports. They're both one and the same on this laptop. With those Thunderbolt options, you can have up to 4 displays going from this laptop. 3 6K displays from Thunderbolt and 1 4K display from the HDMI. Now, if you do have the 8-core M1 Pro processor, you only get 2 6K displays, but that's still crazy. That allows for a whole host of amazing desk setups that don't include a single monitor. But come on, we all know Team Single Monitor is the best. We all know it. And I believe that I'm contractually obligated as a YouTuber to mention this, but having SD card slots takes you from an okay amount of ports to, and you are free to quote me here, a perfect amount of ports. Mwah, chef's kiss. You might be saying to yourself that Apple are known for taking ports away and only wanting the slimmest, least useful computer ever. I laugh at that now. I mean, that XPS 15 strawman from earlier doesn't have HDMI or 3 Thunderbolt ports. It does come with a dongle that gives you HDMI and USB-A, so I'm only going to lightly kick it when it's down for this part. We'll be a little easier on it. It has 3 ports, but they're not all Thunderbolt. But we haven't even talked about the processor yet, leading me in to the 4th reason to continue buying this laptop, the M1 Pro processor, because that's the version that I own, the base model. Now, it might not be overwhelmingly more powerful than the MacBook Air or any of the M1 standard computers, so while it might have on paper or bar charts levels of equivalent power, it does need to do a few things more than the M1 standard has to do, and it has to do those all the time. Like I said, you get more ports with more functionality, and you get a 120 Hz refresh display. Plus, because of the way the die of the processor is laid out, you can get up to 32 gigabytes of unified memory, unlike the 16 gigabyte cap from the M1 standard. If you get the Max processor, you can get up to 64 gigabytes. The thing that this allows for is for other things to be the bottleneck as opposed to the processor. So you can do things like more intensive memory tasks, more intensive graphical tasks because of the beefier GPU. Neither thing is worth the upgrade by itself, but all of it together is what makes the M1 Pro the better processor, and the one most worthy of purchasing if you need that extra oomph. And remember, when I say extra oomph, it's about all of the power, not just like a specific bar chart. And you may not have a need of all of this, so you have to know what you need before buying anything, or you are potentially wasting your money. Like we mentioned in the versatility section, if you need more power than that, it's always available on the ordering page. Well, it's like hypothetically available. Like, you can click on the button and order it, but it's probably not coming to you for a very long time. These things are crazy back-ordered. The next reason to buy the MacBook Pro, that reason is the display. But here, we come into a problem. The display is great. There is no question about it. And the only screen that I've seen is better, for obvious reasons, is the MacBook Pro 16. But the problem with the screen is it's too good. It's so good that everything else will look bad by comparison, even other expensive monitors. So while this is a reason to buy it, be warned. This might ruin other computer monitors for you forever. It's like a monkey's paw wish. But seriously, the display is awesome and you will not find another like it. 14-inch laptops hit that perfect balance of being small, but also being big enough to have actual power inside. Besides the ports, I think the best darn thing about this whole laptop is the screen size. One note that I want to make though is Apple does say on their website that this will go up to 1000 nits of sustained brightness, but don't think that that means it will do 1000 nits in normal use. I also thought that's what it meant when it first came out, but after some commenters started telling me I was wrong, I went out and purchased a light meter to check, and this does come out to about 500 nits of brightness in normal use. Still good, and combined with everything else, the laptop display is incredible. Just, again, know what you are getting into before you buy. And the last reason to purchase the MacBook Pro 14, it's a MacBook. Okay, I get that that might sound like an elitist thing to say, and only us YouTubers from our ivory tower would say such things, but team, I've got a ton of Windows laptops. I'm pointing at like 4 of them right now. I was primarily a PC user for my entire life up until a couple of years ago, and I was looking at my Windows desktop PC while I typed this script. There just is no other way about it. Apple makes the best laptops, so long as you don't need specific software that will only run on Windows, or if you want to do AAA gaming. MacBooks are crazy good. Not only do they have full power when not plugged into the wall, but they are very well thermally managed, and their battery life is better than anything I've yet to come across from the Windows world. Heck, the MacBook Pro 14 is better than any Windows laptop that I've ever come across. Yes, I'm excited to try out some of the 12th gen Intel options coming out this year, but even then, I'll still have problems where they will lose power when disconnected, and I've yet to find a Windows machine that doesn't have loud fans when you start using it. To me, that's not acceptable after you've used a MacBook, because in this world, you don't have to deal with that stuff. There you go. I absolutely love mine, and I consider this a laptop specifically made for me. And if you like this video and you want to see what I think a perfect M2 MacBook Air might look like, good news. You can find my video digging into that by clicking right here. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.